My name is Sarah Grimwood, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I'm calling this public meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting. We have a microphone set up on the Commission table and plans will be projected through the TV monitor. If you're presenting via Zoom, please turn on your audio and microphone when it's time for you to speak. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the Commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of any commissioners attending virtually and the current petitioner. Once the Commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the October 29th meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, and at this time I would like the commissioners to introduce themselves.
Bill Cameza.
Nick Pappas.
Thank you. And we hope that Jim Smith will join us.
We still have a quorum though, right?
Yeah.
We have a quorum, but save him introducing himself later.
Right.
Okay, so first of all, we're going to start, as always, with public comment. This is limited up to 10 minutes, with no more than 2 minutes allocated to any one speaker. Public comment is limited to items that are not on the agenda. Do we have anybody here to talk about anything that is not on the agenda? Is there anything on? Anyone with a raised hand? No, no. Okay, good. We will move on. So we're going to start with approving some sets of meeting minutes.
I saw no problems in any of them.
Wait, I only had one question.
Mr.
Oh, great. Bill, Bear Pond, how do you spell bear in Bear Pond?
B-A-R-E.
Oh, it is that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was right. I read it and I was, so is that
You
the
know,
right
It
spelling?
couldn't be that, right?
So it was right. Okay, good. Thank you. So I also, I thought they were great. I didn't see anything that needs changing. Bill, Jim, any comments? No.
I move
Okay.
that we accept the minutes.
Just to say, we didn't review the August 27th ones.
Okay. The minutes of July 16th and August 6th.
I second it.
So it's July sixth, the
Three-
16th, August
six,
6th, August
August 27th.
27th, and August 6th, executive session, all four.
All four, right, the executive.
Yes,
I was reading from the wrong place.
Okay,
Okay, so
not this one.
let me restate it. I move that we approve the minutes from July 16th, 2025 and August 6th, 2025.
And,
I guess I second that.
okay. And the vote? Jim?
Aye. Aye.
I,
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, but Nick, we still have two others. So we have this one and this one that you still need to do.
I got it. Okay. So I move that we approve the minutes of August 27th and what was the second
The
one?
executive session minutes.
Executive session from August 6th.
In a
I second
second.
that, yeah.
Thank you. And the vote, Jim,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
I,
and I'm an aye as well.
I want to note that Nick hit me on this one. Pay attention, right,
I
Nick?
were asleep.
We got there. Okay. Are there any commissioner comments to start us off tonight?
No, yes, I do.
Yes, good.
Let's see, follow up to previous discussions about the land use committee. I have watched all of the sessions that have
Mhm.
happened so far, and what I had heard originally when the select board was discussing it, sounded like the committee was going to be like a general look at all of the town's properties and what we might look to do with them. But the charge that they were actually given is much narrower, which is find a better solution, facility solution for public safety, find a better facility solution for public works, and third, not quite as urgent, for administration, look at the possibility of consolidating administration. And so they've had about a dozen meetings and they've broken into task forces. And they have a lot of work to do. They're missing a lot of information and I'm not sure, they haven't got another meeting scheduled at the moment, so. I think the issues that have come up related to natural resources are, I don't think they quite understand the implications of some of the properties that we own being in floodplain and what limitations that places on future use. And also one property that is endangered species inhabited over by the sewage plant. So there are some issues that that they're going to encounter, and it's too early to do anything about it, but they will require some support.
Thank you. We did actually assign Ed as the liaison to that group. So has he been joining the meetings as well? Have you seen Ed Nardi?
I have not. It's because I'm watching recordings, I can't see
Yeah.
who's watching remotely.
Yeah,
So it's possibly he hasn't been present for any of the ones that I noticed.
okay.
But
Because he did tell me that, well, they've just been having a lot of process conversations when I spoke to him last. But he did say he would come forward if there was anything.
Okay, good.
So, because as
I'm gonna keep watching it.
are you okay? Thank you. That's helpful. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So you think it is worth yours and Ed's time then, because they are going to need NRC help?
Yeah, yes, when they get more specific, but I don't know when that will be. They're on,
Okay.
they have a very ambitious schedule. And I'm doubtful they can keep to it, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you, Nick. That's very helpful. Okay, we'll move to the director's update then.
That's now 17.
Oops. Shut up, Siri.
Okay.
So the first thing that I would like to do, I think everybody has met Rose Kaforsky. She's the new Assistant Natural Resources Director. Most recently coming to us from the federal government. She's got experience working with the Federal Endangered Species Act, sections 7 and 10, writing biological opinions. Also has done wetlands work and also involved in federal permitting for wind farms. And so we're very excited to have her here. It's day 3. So she's still very new.
Still here.
And she's come back.
It's a week, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think I mentioned at the last meeting that our land manager, Will Holden, who was off since May, returned to us in early September. So he's back. So we're back to a full staff, which is great. And then another thing that I wanted to mention was that DEP contacted us on Monday. They received a complaint from a Concord resident about the stockpiling that's occurring at the Concord Municipal Light Plant parcel that's just west of the Rotary. So there's a lot of stockpiling that's been there for a period of time.
Is that the
And
states?
Just behind the gas station.
So a contractor has an agreement to stockpile materials there as they're doing construction on some road work in Acton.
Oh,
And there are wetlands on the property, and I learned about them stockpiling after I saw it, after it had been started, and this was a few years ago. And so I had the contractor install erosion controls at the 25-foot no disturb zone. Rose and I went out there yesterday, and those erosion controls need to be refreshed. And so, we've reached out to the contractor to request that be done. And then I talked with the light plant, and it sounds like that project is going to be completed this year. So I expect that the site will be restored. That's one of the conditions, that they will need to restore it to the pre-existing condition prior to being released from.
just the site
their
right
agreement.
behind the gas station?
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's been going on for years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
and they think they're going to finish this year, 25.
That's my understanding.
Okay,
Mhm.
they've got a lot of cleanup to do then.
They
Yeah.
do. It's a lot of cleanup.
Hmm.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, you will recall during COVID, Richard Foreman was the was the lead author on this book on
Yeah.
trails,
Mhm.
ecology along Concord trails. And he has now completed a new book. And he has donated this book to the town. So it's a town ecology. And it is really a comprehensive look at ecology that we will be able to use for our open space and recreation plan updates. I think that planning board will be able to use it in their Envision Concord comprehensive, long range plan updates, Public Works can use this. There's a lot of information in terms of, water use. It really looks at Concord historically and Concord moving forward. And it's really thorough in
Mhm.
2025 that Richard has
He's
done.
the man, yeah.
It's an amazing book. He's donated it to the town will be selling it.
Okay.
And Richard is working out the purchase price for that, so probably between $35 and $40, and we hope that will be available in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I have a question, do you, when is our next required open space plan?
So our open space plan is expired and
I
It
thought
had-
so, I didn't want
yes,
to say that.
it is. It is. So it had been my intention to have that update begin this year. But we had another project come in that had a time sensitive that we are focusing on
Sure.
for this year. And so the plan is we do have CPA money to engage a consultant.
Okay.
And the plan is to undertake the update of that beginning next year. It's an anticipated 2-year process.
Mhm.
And the final thing that I have is that Tomas Brockett Delgado is one of our conservation crew. He returned from last year, as well as our former crew member Elsa Crotty. So they were our two conservation crew both last year and this year. And he's still with us. He graduated from university this May. And he's remained until he finds a permanent position. So he has been continuing to do land
He's
management.
excellent.
He's
been remarkable.
Tremendous. He's really good. So the bench that was restored,
I saw, yeah.
that was him, and Elsa, she also participated in that, but he and Will, our land manager, as well as Bob White, our Trails Committee Chair, and some Trails stewards have been working on Chamberlain Bridge. And so the railings along the zigzag bridge have been replaced, and they are going to be doing some of the decking this Friday.
Good.
So that bridge is slated for replacement in 2029, but we wanted to just do some repairs. We've done some, you'll recall, in
In the-
2023, but it definitely need, the railings were in pretty poor condition, so that is something that they've been working on. That's it for me.
Thank you, Julia. Great. Okay, so please could I have a motion for the first 2 continuances?
Sure. I move that we continue to October 29th, 2025 without discussion. The notice of intent for 874 Barrett's Mill Road, DEP file 137-1719, and the request for determination of applicability for the MBTA commuter rail line, Keolis RDA file number 25-11.
Second,
Thank you, Nick. And the vote, Jim,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Nick,
aye,
and I'm in as well. Thank you. Please could I have a motion for one more open and continuance?
I'll do it. No. I move that we open and continue to October 29th without discussion, the notice of intent for Concord Public Works Engineering Division for the Spencer Brook Road right of way, DEP file 137-1721.
second,
So before you take a vote, can I just make a mention of that?
Yeah,
So that, that project was issued an order of conditions
right.
at, I think it was a September 17th meeting.
Yep.
And DEP had concerns about that order of conditions. And there was a little bit of a disconnect between what the consultant had provided to DEP. And so in conversations with DEP, that's a provisional appeal. We'll be working through comments that they have on the application, making sure that those are addressed. And the intention is that the hearing will be reopened and heard at the October 29th meeting, satisfactorily resolved, and then DEP would withdraw their appeal.
So essentially, their appeal was suggesting something more restrictive than we were suggesting? Is that what it was?
They didn't feel that the project had met the stream crossing standards.
Yeah.
They had other concerns about it as well, which I think have been addressed
Yeah,
by the consultant.
Okay,
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm a little confused. So is there a separate meeting or you're saying our meeting on October 29th?
So our meeting on October 29th will be to reopen.
Oh, that's.
Go through the comments
Right.
that the NRC had provided initially and that DEP had provided initially, and for them to really go through and kind of address
Okay.
how the comments,
With DEP.
how to
Okay,
no, we will likely have a meeting with DEP in advance of that NRC.
okay, so that's in advance, because they mentioned they wanted a site visit as well.
So that's a standard appeal
Okay.
letter. That's
Okay,
what they put into it, but what they've relayed to me is that they just want to be sure that their concerns have been addressed.
okay,
So they issue, they don't review all applications that go to, the NRC. They probably review every couple dozen. But they had significant comments on this application. And the consultant, responded, but responded in a way that they basically refiled the notice of intent. And so it wasn't the typical, here's the concern, here's the response.
yeah, okay,
And so there was, they just want to be sure that everything is
got it,
in.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So could we have a vote? Did we get a second on that one?
yeah, we did vote already.
Oh, we voted on that one, right, okay.
Well,
thank
you took a second, but you haven't voted.
I don't think we voted,
Okay,
no,
all right.
thank you. So Jim?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well, thank you very much. Okay. So we have 3 new applications to be heard this evening. The first one is for an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation at 11B Ledge Rock Road. This is DEP file 1371722. And you do have,
Can I pull up a chair?
Oh, yeah,
oh, yes, please.
It's still yours. instead of-
sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Stop my back.
Let's see. Seth, yes.
So good evening. I am Seth Donahoe with Dilson Roy Civil Design Group. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Florin J. Dolan. And as you read in, this is ANRAD, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 11B Ledge Rock Road. It's about a 3-acre site. We've prepared plans that are in your package that identify 2 resource areas on the site. A northerly resource area, which has A and then numbered series flags, and I'll wait for it to come up. There it is.
Yep.
Great, so that is the northern portion of the site. And then on the southern portion of the site,
Hang on, let's pick.
there is a B series that follows a shallow channel. As you can see, there's topography depicted on the plan. Much of the resource area is defined by topography. There is a wetland delineation report within the binder that was submitted, and that includes bordering vegetated wetland data forms or determination forms for both the upland area and wetland area. So as I said, it's fairly well defined by topography. The flags were in place in the field. If the commission has any specific questions on this, I'd be happy to address.
Thank you, Seth, and I think this is very straightforward. I don't have any questions or concerns.
No, Adelia, you visited there. It seems
Confirm the
okay.
flagging in the
Yeah.
field.
Flags are fine. Yeah, not for me.
Okay, I
Okay.
move that we, public.
Oh, yes, do we have any public comments on this application?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is William Barbarusi. I live at 40 Copper Mine, and our property backs up directly
Mhm.
on 11B. 3 brief points. One, I don't know anything about surveying to determine the extent of wetlands. However, I was coincidentally present on the property when I saw the surveyors doing that assessment, and it was in the midst of the drought this summer. I have no idea how that might impact the accuracy of a determination, but I suspect it might. It was the time of year when all was brown and dead, for those of us who don't water our lawns. Just think that's important. The second is that that property has been the subject of significant deliberation by various town groups with prior requests to build on it. As part of the original Lindsay Pond neighborhood agreement, 1 house was allowed to be built on each lot. Lot 11 was subdivided and 11B was sold. In 2011, when there was an attempt to build on it, I believe there's an extensive file that the commission probably has. It was determined that it could not be built on because it would not be consistent with the original neighborhood agreement. And then the third thing I want to say is that, as Delia, I'm sure knows, that property is ledge. It's called ledge rock for a reason. Our property sits at the base of it. And when we moved in, it had a drainage system that had fallen apart, which we didn't know until the further we were there. And then we had ducks swimming in our backyard. Because massive amount of water runs off of that hill. And this commission determined exactly what we were allowed to do to deal with the water. It's an extensive series of drainage pipes on multiple layers, multiple cisterns, drilling through, 150 feet of solid rock to go in a route that was agreed upon by the commission at a total cost of $400,000. And so I'm very concerned that disturbing the wetlands on that hill on a lot that was previously determined to not be buildable could really adversely impact the drainage on our property and then downstream in the neighborhood, which was the reason why this commission required that we install a $400,000 drainage system on our property.
Okay,
So for those three reasons, I'm very concerned about what may or may not happen on
Yeah.
our property.
thank you for your comments. So obviously, there may be other pieces that come to us, but the only thing that we're being asked to talk about today is the actual delineation.
I
But
understand, and
I'll
that's
let-
why that was my first.
Yeah, that's the first comment. Yes, so maybe Delia, you can respond. Thank you.
So, the way that wetlands are delineated, drought interestingly does not have a lot of effect on it unless it is a very prolonged, drought. Wetlands are delineated through a combination of, existing vegetation. So you look at the overstory, the trees, the shrubs and the herbaceous layers. And the trees are obviously there for a long time. Every plant that is in North America is given a rating of a wetland indicator status. And wetlands are determined based on the presence of a abundance or dominance of wetland indicator plant species. So the herbaceous layer is very likely to not be visible because of the drought condition. The shrubs will still be there, the trees will still be there. The second parameter for identifying wetlands is soils. And hydric soils develop over decades and decades of time. And they're basically determined, hydric soils are or wetland soils are determined by soils that are saturated during the growing season for a period of 14, I think it's 14 days. I'd have to double check that. But there's a period of time and you start to see these hydric soil conditions where they become hydric. So well, I could give you a primer on it at another time, probably not too much information for the meeting. But the third condition is that there's a hydrologic connection to some water feature. So those are the three parameters that we use and that the state and the federal government have identified as the means of identifying wetlands.
And so does this determination differ from any prior determination of the extent of wetlands on the property?
I don't believe that we have ever had a wetlands determination on the property, and this determination, if approved by the NRC, is valid for 3 years.
Mhm.
Got it.
And then your second point, we don't have a file on this property. There may be, correct, a file in planning.
Mhm.
Because if there was a subdivision that created that as a protected parcel, or there was some neighborhood intent, it would be captured in either the planning documents, or if it was a special permit, it would be in the ZBA files.
So all of the abutting neighbors are going on the assumption that this determination was made with the expectation that the property owner wanted to then move forward to the next stage. That's why I was asking.
Right.
Seth, is there anything you can share or would like to share?
So we're going through the planning processes with the applicant and the owner now. So, and this is one of our first steps in that we're defining what can be done within the setbacks to this commission's jurisdiction at this time.
So with regard to the wetland and the water issue, I assume, given the very extensive approach, which I understood, that was taken with our property, that an equally extensive effort will be undertaken to ensure that, as with our property, any water from that property would have to be dealt with on that property by the creation of cisterns and holding wells and so on.
Yep.
Of course, have to be.
We try our best to be very consistent, yes. Okay, any other comments? And we'll go to the vote.
I don't think we heard the motion.
Oh, we haven't had the motion. Thank you. Yes. Go for it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I believe that we, yes,
Close the hearing.
Yeah,
issue an
close the
order.
hearing, issue, and abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. The natural resource, oh, second?
Second.
Thank you. And the vote, Jim?
Just before the vote, I just want to make sure that we note for the record, and it's in this order as well, that we're reserving the right to review any and all future proposals of work on the site.
Yeah, let me read the,
Those issues.
I should have read
Given
this.
the concern here, I just want
Thank
to
you,
make
Jim.
sure that it's crystal clear that that's part of our.
Let me read it into the record. The Natural Resources Commission has verified the following resource area boundaries as shown on ANRAD Plan 11B Ledge Rock Road, PCL ID 1587 1 dated September 3rd, 2025. Bordering vegetated wetland flag numbers A1 through A14 and B1 through B8. Note that there may be other resource areas present on the site which the commission was not asked to verify. In addition, the commission was unable to verify resource area boundary flags other than the ones approved in this ORAD. For this reason, the commission reserves the right to review any future proposal for work on site to determine if there is a resource area or portion thereof not verified in this ORAD that may trigger the commission's jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, yeah.
And the vote, Jim?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So next we have a notice of intent for 124 Tarbell Spring Road, DP file 1371723. And this is Nathaniel.
Yep, I have it for that. All right. So for the record, my name is Nathaniel. I'm with Stansky and McNary, and I noticed that the owner slash applicant, Sam Stearns, is also here. If someone could give me the screen share, I'll put the plan up. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so this is a single family house located at 124 Tarbell Spring Road. Zooming in a little bit here. So the house is located a little bit close to the street itself, and then on the west property line, which runs at an angle up and down the page here, along the line there is an intermittent stream. This is known as Ministerial Stream, named after the street that is around the corner. Just as a side note, the street has been the subject of other notices of intent filed within the last couple of years, I believe. So that's the resource area. So the stream basically runs almost right along the property line, and the 100-foot buffer zone goes way past the house, runs out to here on the page, if you can see it. So the entirety of the house is within the 100-foot buffer zone, and much of the house and basically the entirety of the driveway is existing within the 50-foot no build zone, a part of it within the 25-foot no build zone. Most of the proposed work has to do with the driveway. So zooming in a little bit more, and I can put color on it if you need, but basically I'll try to do that actually. Hold on. I can't find the thing to mark it up. Sorry, I'll do it on here. So this is the existing driveway, this kind of lighter line right here, the edge of it. It comes up here and it makes kind of a weird little triangle angle and comes back down. So the main purpose is to widen and make some adjustments to the driveway. So the owners note that they have a very hard time maneuvering, getting vehicles in and out of the garage, which is right here. Part of it, when they reverse, they try to reverse into the turnaround. They end up driving over the grass, running it up. A lot of the grass goes away, leaves it as dirt as a result. Also, the driveway needs to be repaved because it ponds kind of in the center, and you can tell by the way the topography is, it's pretty flat. So the owners notice issues with ponding in the driveway and during heavier storm events to the extent that it can impact the house and run into the garage. So that problem is definitely a concern and something that could potentially get worse. So to alleviate that, in addition to the entire driveway being repaved, it is being widened by about 2.5 feet. So the no disturb zone runs right here on this line right here. So the turnaround is within the no disturb zone. So it's being widened, but staying well outside the no disturb zone in the area where the pavement's being widened. And then if you look over here where the turnaround itself is, the patching, which is visible now, is a portion of pavement that's going to be taken away. So because it was kind of a weird jagged shape, they want to round it out so it looks nice. So instead of adding pavement in the no disturb zone to achieve that, they're going to take it away. So they're just going to saw cut a nice clean line, get rid of the pavement that is existing that doesn't really match up with the rest of it. That'll increase the distance to the stream by about 1 foot. So instead of being under 10, it'll be just about under 11 feet to the edge of the resource area. Another thing to aid the water that runs off so it doesn't pond in the house, they're going to regrade the grass area right here. It shouldn't have to go all the way to the stream. There's a point where it drops off before the resource area arrives, so they should only have to go up to where the silt barrier is at most, maybe even ahead of that. But just regrading it to correct what is really supposed to be the natural flow of water. So if you look at the overall topography, it's pretty high on this side. It goes up pretty suddenly to a bit of a hill where the front of the property is. It comes down from the street. So the lowest point on the property is by the stream over here. So that's where the water has to go. So regrading it to correct potentially it being raised over time.
It was approved in 2020 with an aluminum fence. And I
Okay,
forget if we put the specific design. We work with Delia and the team to submit that application. And our goal is to create a fence that is metal for durability, but allows the appropriate openings to allow wildlife to transfer, and really just having it that there is a safety thing for our children so they don't fall down the ledge into the wetland at the border of our property.
I thought the big concern would have been for wildlife, but it
Yeah.
seems you've already faced that. You already
yeah,
worked that in.
yeah. And if it was previously approved, then that's fine. I just wanted to check that this wasn't.
I was trying to find the document when I was when I wasn't sharing, but I couldn't find it. Sorry about that. I would be able to if I had more time, but
Okay, thank you. One thing that's missing, Nathaniel, I'm sure you know this from all our previous discussions, is that we need a table of existing and proposed impervious services, please, by zone.
yes, yeah, very silly. I left it out of the application. I'm sorry. I emailed it to Delia during the afternoon today. Sorry about that.
Okay, so we'll have that for the next discussion, and then I may have misheard you, but did you talk about water issues? So you're saying the water comes off the driveway? I'm just
Yeah, so
wondering
I
if
can
that needs to be filtered in any way, or, managing the runoff coming back into the water system.
yeah, so I can talk about that a little bit more in more detail. So
Okay,
Sam, please jump in if I say anything wrong or you want to clarify. But my understanding is that right in this flat area of the driveway, you can see we have a few little spot elevations shown. They all kind of sit around the same elevation, meaning that this wider parking area, like that is right across from the garage. So the garage being right here, is very flat. And They get ponding, which can freeze in the winter. And during larger storms, there's a concern that the ponding can impact the garage. So if you look at the garage floor, which is, this is a survey shot, it's right at just under 130, and there's a grade of 130. There's like a line of 130 that basically runs almost to the garage door. So the garage sits a little bit lower or almost level with a lot of the driveway. So these things are the grades we're proposing to correct it, to get it going, in the direction that we wanted to go, which is this way. And so what I was saying earlier was that does pitch it towards the resource area. So, but when you look at the overall site, like if we were just analyzing where ultimately water settles, notwithstanding the fact that it ponds, it's the stream. So in the end, it goes to the stream. That's where the grades go. That's where most of the driveway goes, except maybe part of it that's needs to be regraded. That's in front of the property right here. So this is correcting it to get it back to what should be the existing drainage pattern of the site. So I mean, no, we didn't propose anything like, in terms of stormwater or retention. Part of the reason is because this is, because it's pretty close to the stream. There's obviously the concern of, where the regular water table sits and whether a structure like that would function, especially a deep structure that sits, well below the ground. If it basically just sets the water table, there's not much of a function to it. And the addition in impervious area is not so much, and there's spots like right here and right here where we're taking pavement away, because it's so much existing and the increase is really a small percentage of the total. If this was like a new driveway, it would probably be a different story, but because much of it's existing, we discussed the fact that drainage would be a concern, but I think because it's not a huge increase and it maintains what is basically the natural drainage pattern of the site, that providing some form of storage or something like that might not have been warranted given the scale of the project. So that's why it's proposed in the way that it is. And Sam, if you have anything to add,
Yeah,
please do.
I would just add, there's a photo on page 32 that shows the driveway, and because it's old and in need of replacement, if you can zoom in, you can sort of see there's almost some ruts in front of the garage doors. And so we particularly get the ponding due to that, the current shape of the surface. And sometimes that causes minor flooding into the garage. And so the recommendation from our paving contractor and working with Nathaniel as part of that repaving was to get the right angling to try to bring water away from the house, to have a more improved structure or driveway going forward.
In your opinion, is the surface area large enough that requires a recharge or of some sort, or do you think the lawn and would just absorb it? It's not a huge area.
So the expansion is not a large area of the expansion, but I think the regrading of taking basically the existing driveway and pitching all of it towards the stream, I think that does warrant some infiltration. I mean, it's within very close to, it's 8 feet away from the wetland. So I think it does, I don't know if you've done any soil testing out there, Nathaniel, to know what the water
Could you go back
table
to
elevation
Could
is,
you go
but
back to the picture? Because
the
I
picture,
had
Nathaniel?
a
Yep.
question as well.
I mean, so when it comes
Um,
off the hill, most of it, and you can tell from the topography, I mean, if all of this went
So-
here, they would be a much bigger problem than the.
So I'm just trying to understand the existing situation. So
Yep.
right now you've got water draining off the hill that comes into the driveway,
mhm.
which pools, right? So, but ultimately, after it's done pooling, the overflow will proceed downhill, right?
Yes.
Today.
Yep.
Current condition. So
Yep.
you're currently getting with some delay because of the pooling, you're currently getting the water coming down the hill and eventually finding its way down to the stream. Is that correct?
Mhm.
So all we're
Mhm.
talking about here is removing the buffer. the buffer is the pooling that happens, right? So to me, the buffer that it's currently providing, it doesn't seem like it's that significant. I don't know if you could do a calculation, but you know, it's probably not, given how shallow the pitch is right now, I mean, it's probably not ponding more than a couple of inches.
That's
So,
correct.
and you're talking about an area that's about 20 by 500 or 600 square feet. So,
Mhm.
you know, it doesn't seem to me that given the loss of the buffering effect is gonna provide a lot of extra water,
No, could
right?
you,
It's just the buffer you're talking.
Nathaniel, could you go back to the picture, please?
Yeah,
The
sorry, I
photo
keep
again?
moving, sorry.
When I say
When you talk about the
buffer,
topography, it makes me want
mean-
to look at it, sorry.
When I say buffer, I mean the pool that sits in front of the garage.
Right,
Right.
because, well, just another thought, I wondered if you considered this, you know, I know you have approval already for replacing the fence. But I know one of the staff comments was that the mitigation that was proposed wasn't enough. And we really need some shrubby planting. I wondered if you considered putting shrubs along where the fence is, instead of a fence to stop the children going past there. And whether the fence is really necessary, and that would also check your mitigation box. I just wondered if you considered that, just something to
Is this part of
think
the
about.
big problem?
Well, no, but I'm thinking it would provide infiltration if they're as well.
Okay,
So it would provide you infiltration, it would prevent the need of a fence, and it would help with mitigation. I'm not, you know, I'm just throwing that out there.
We haven't, it's an interesting idea. We haven't considered that yet. I think if you go back to the plot plan, the fence runs the full length of the
Right, got it.
of the border. So I'm not sure it'd be practical to have it go that far.
Mhm.
But we definitely included some of the shrubbery on the left side, and potentially that could be, yeah, something to think more through in terms of where the fence would go or different options there.
Here's a
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
excuse me, I don't know whether this works or doesn't work, but I know I've seen places where they put down porous asphalt.
Mhm.
And I wonder, wouldn't that help with the recharge, et cetera? If it was a porous asphalt driveway, you're putting a new driveway in anyway. Doesn't have to be gravel, doesn't have to be concrete. But I don't know if you've had any experience with that any place,
Doesn't
Celia?
last.
So there have been a few properties, I think, you know, it really comes down to maintenance. So it has to be vacuumed in
Be
order,
vacuumed.
for it to be, I think it's more expensive to put down than asphalt. I mean, I think putting in some sort of, you know, small trench along that would capture, you know,
Or along
some
the drive,
some
along the edge of
runoff,
or even along
Yeah.
the edge of the driveway.
yeah, would be enough
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
to address some of these infiltrated.
So it's sort of a border along the edge of the driveway where they're expanded, they can drive onto, but it would also. be
No, they
porous.
shouldn't drive on
They
it.
shouldn't drive onto it?
No, but something like a gravel, whatever, right? You're
Mm.
thinking,
Could be gravel, it could be it could be a bioretention with plantings. Yeah, but
Okay.
it basically
thing-
would capture that, you know, runoff that's being directed now, that's being ponded, but infiltrating before it gets to the stream.
okay.
Um,
The other possibility.
Nathaniel, can you please go back to the photo? I just want a
Yeah, yep.
little color when we do see the ponding. If you
Oh,
can
yeah.
zoom in at
It's
a
blurry.
closer photo, you can see that the driveway is in disrepair, even though it's a bit blurry.
Yeah.
And particularly in front of the right side of the driveway, there's a few areas where it's rutted. You can see a bit of the sand in those areas. And I think what we typically observe is there's an inch or two, particularly in those rutted areas. But further up the driveway, we don't see that ponding. So it's there's a comment earlier in terms of the buffer that the pooling provides, and I think it's not sort of an issue that we see across the whole driveway. It's just exacerbated close to the house, and otherwise we don't see a major issue with the pooling across the entire driveway.
Yeah, Nathaniel, I was gonna suggest you could do a calculation on what the buffering is and how that affects and whether or not it's significant, but. It's up to
Yeah,
you.
I mean, potentially, I almost think that the irregularities on this area are almost too subtle for like a really fine calculation. Like if I were to look at this on like a larger picture, I'd be looking at, foot
Yeah.
intervals or half foot intervals. Something that would hold like an inch it's hard to detect in the topo. I mean, if you look right here, it's like 129.9, 129. It's like the same elevation throughout most of it. Like the irregularities are really narrow. You'd need to really, you know, over survey it to get any difference and to see ruts like that. And that's not something that's normally picked up. I mean, I
Well,
could see.
I think the idea of a trench or some sort of something like that seems practical, especially with the fact that you're moving the basketball hoop anyway.
Mhm.
So you might consider that.
I don't want to be a contrarian here, except that I'm a little concerned about the fact that we're mostly just replacing an existing driveway, right? And
Yep.
when this was built, however long ago that was, I'm guessing that it was built to grade into the stream. And that there weren't any ruts there because it hadn't settled and done all the things that it did. And so I'm just kind of wondering in my mind whether or not the existing condition was a driveway the existing quote, the original existing condition was a driveway that had a certain little amount of runoff, and because there's some ruts in it. Now, I don't know that in repairing those ruts, we should be, sure, it'd be great, I suppose, to have a little bit of buffer there, but I'm having a hard time just thinking that really is in the spirit of sort of you're just allowing them to replace the existing driveway, if you will.
Yeah, no, I think we're just throwing out considerations to make the best of the opportunity of improving this area.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's what I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Condition can be improved in this process.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, my understanding was that, the owners would like to, and like I said, Sam, feel free to jump in if you disagree, but my understanding is that they would like to, obviously be considerate of costs and keep the work, you know, basically as minimal as we can. Like I said, there was like, they try to make good compromise with taking pavement out in certain spots and only widening
Yeah.
it by the exact amount they needed. I'm not sure they, like I said, Sam, jump in if you disagree. I'm not sure if they want to have like a specific structure that they might be responsible for keeping up with and maintaining. And, those things tend to they have to be inspected and looked at every now and then. And to the last point, when I was talking about, the overall existing drainage pattern, that is, I agree with the assessment that, ultimately it's all meant to go in this direction. And I believe most of it does go in that direction. And my understanding is that it's the preference of the owners to, not necessarily have to have like an additional drainage structure that they'd be responsible for, and that the increase in impervious area and the fact that it's being repitched is, meant to mimic what was probably going on for a long time before the driveway got rutted. And like I said, if this was a brand new driveway, a brand new house, it would be very much a different story. But in our opinion, it's a minimal increase. And my understanding is that they would like to avoid extensive drainage work, notwithstanding the mitigation that we were talking about. Obviously, we're going to go and address the shrubs, put proper shrubs in. But yeah.
Okay, I'm amenable to Jim's point of view on this, and I think the amount of ponding, the buffering provided is it's not exactly de minimis, but it's not a significant factor.
And just to go against myself a little bit, I do think that since we are looking for more planting, that we can be thoughtful about that planting, which may well take some of the
Help with the infiltration,
help
with the
with the
filtration.
infiltration anyway. I don't know where it is and what it is, but it just seems to me that the natural planting could take care of whatever this issue is as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that's something we'd agree to. Yep.
So we clearly need to continue, but just to summarize, my sense from the discussion is that we're okay with the shed being replaced where it is.
Yeah.
Everyone's okay? Yep. We would like to see a table to have it
I did
clear.
get that this
Oh, you
afternoon.
got the
It came
table.
in late this
So
afternoon.
the table also helps with the mitigation piece. And as you heard, you know, we recommend some shrubs that could help with the infiltration, so you could decide the best place that they would go to help with that. Are you okay continuing to the 29th of October?
We are, yes, thank you.
Great. Okay, I guess I should open to public comment.
Mm.
Yes, public comment? Yes, please do.
I'm the butter. And
Could you give your name and
I'm
address,
here
please?
to, give you a little background on what's going on, and I'd like, the other position, yes,
Louis,
the
if you
one
could-
you're looking at now.
Louis, if you just name and address.
I'm Lou Hill, 360 Harrington Avenue.
Thank you.
I'm the original owner. I
Oh,
bought the house from the builder. I've been there since 1969, and I've known the people that live in the house and there. So what I'd like to have you focus on, based on the wetlands bylaw, is that we have on the top of the screen the river, the Aspet River, and we have a piece of that white land is for half of it is farmland. And then on the right side of it, that goes all the way to West Concord downtown. That's a very large area if you were to go back. On the lower part, we have the old rifle range area. And that's quite large, and that goes almost to Main Street from Old Marlboro. In those two areas are large animals and small animals and all kinds of wildlife. And the connection between those two areas is the blue line that has just been, I think, added to go across Harrington, and then or it goes across 3 streets.
oh, that one, yep.
It goes across the Ministerial, and then Tarbell, and then Harrington, and it goes in large tubes, concrete tubes under the street. What happens when I first arrived there in the first few years, animals were, that's a game path. That's where the animals move from, and the big buck goes down there and finds a doe, and it's a quite active path. And what we have here in this proposal is a total obstruction to any movement of animals from those two areas. And
With the fence, you mean?
no, not the fence. What he hasn't shown is the, next to the shed, he loads all kinds of branches and wood all the way to the stream. So there's a total blockage of the game path on this property. And also the fence is obstruction to any animals that want to take a drink of water when they go through there. And the animals tend to follow the stream. They've been around here before we have. And we're really on their land. And I think we ought to have a little respect for them. I have tried very hard to keep my area open and for animals path, but they don't come anymore because he's totally blocking the area. The shed should not be there. It's the write-up where it says replace should be removed. These are clear obstructions to nature and to natural resources and the animals and the plants and everything. That's this is a critical area of animal movement. And you're just looking at this little piece based on human beings. This is not the meaning of the wetlands law. The wetlands law is supposed to protect the plants and animals that use this land. And I hope you really take a good look at this. And I would hope that you would not, I don't have a problem with the existing driveway and it being resurfaced. That's a safety issue, so she could back into it and go out frontwards on Tarbell. I think that's important, but the fence, existing fence should be removed. There should be no new fences, and the shed should be removed and put, half that house is in the 100-foot area.
Yeah.
This is really low land. When these tubes under the street up here on the way to, the other department here doesn't always clear those tubes. And branches black them up and we get flooding all along here.
Okay.
And this, you're really right down to the water line where you're talking about fences and things. This is not the way to go.
Thank you,
You
Lois.
know, I've been around here a long time and I think that little box at the, piece of land there, that was a Warren article that protected that and the plants and the animals in it. That's why that was bought more recently by the town. And we're not protecting anything when we build barricades on this area between these two wetlands.
So, I mean, this is,
So
I,
I hope you reconsider
thank you.
your vote. And
So I think this is why
I
the
appreciate
wetlands,
your help and.
why the wetlands
and do it. I'm
protection.
trying to be a nice
Of
neighbor.
course, yeah.
But
I'll just
I-
make a comment. I think this is why the Wetlands Protection Act is in place for
Sure.
reasons you've talked about. This property was built before, you know, all the laws. Our jurisdiction is to hold to that now, but something that's actually been built in that area, it is allowed to
And
stay.
I think there's 7 properties in there, and every one that comes up, look at this chart here, not the individual
Yeah,
lots.
understood.
Look at the big picture.
I will comment though that stockpiling is not allowed in the 25-foot zone, so,
And I think the stream ought to be identified in the rail trail. And it's just missing, she just picked it up the other day. That put a blue line in there, that's important for
Mhm.
people to
Yeah.
know.
yeah. Thank you, Lois. Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
So we think there might be a wood stockpiling in that area, or
Well,
we should
I,
check that out.
I would just
Yeah.
ask, oh, Sam wants to comment.
Sam, is what you say?
Sam, would you like
Yes.
to comment?
So it's Mr. Hill, nice to meet you. It's unusual to meet a neighbor in this circumstance. I would say 2 things. One is that we share your goal in terms of allowing for free passage of animals on our property. Second, I was very surprised to hear your characterization that we're stockpiling any material on our property. I do not believe that's the case. We don't have any photos of the area that I think you're referring to in the presentation, but we can share those later and would invite the NRC team to do a site visit of other areas of that property. We've let the back corner triangle of our property be in its natural state to support that goal of conservation. So again, very surprised by those comments, while we share a common goal in terms of allowing the safe passage and the promotion of nature, you know, within our property in that important location.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, so we do have more on the agenda, so I guess we should move forward if pardon?
Were there other comments from us? Okay.
I don't think so, no. So we will continue this one then to October 29th.
And maybe some added photographs or a visit or something to look at that, to make sure that that area is clear, would be a good idea. Either photographs from them or.
We can take a look.
Or take a look.
Bert had looked at that before.
That'd be good.
he
Yeah,
left,
that'd be
but
great.
He didn't mention anything about that.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, thanks all.
Okay, thanks, Nathaniel.
Yep.
Okay, so. Another new application. This is for 340 Main Street, RDA file 2515. Who do we have?
Great. Hi, Ben Herder here from Studio DSK, representing Melissa and Chris Anderson at 340 Main Street. We are here to request a determination of applicability. And do I have clearance to share my screen?
Yes.
Great.
Please go ahead. Oh.
He's just sent a request. It
Sorry.
didn't,
Thank you.
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Here we go.
Okay. Is that visible to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. And Melissa and Chris Anderson are also on the line here.
I see. Welcome.
So you can see on this site here, just for locational purposes, where 62 Main Street is, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to show you where 340 Main Street is, right at the juncture of Main Street and Elm, and it backs up to the Sudbury River. And this project is comprised of a few exterior implements. Oh, did I lose my screen? Shoot. Hold on.
We see it.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
We see the full plan.
That's good. Okay, there we go. So the orientation of this has rotated 90 degrees. So Main Street's running, up and down on the page on the right, and the Sudbury River is to the left. I'll zoom in on the house here, where you can see the existing dwelling right here outlined with a kind of hatched outline. What this project is comprised of is a single-story sunroom in this location right here, a rebuilt porch and stairs under my cursor right here, a new screen porch and rebuilt patio space in this general vicinity right here. And those are the sort of four components of the exterior of the project that we are proposing. And as you can also see in this plan, there's a dotted line under my cursor here running across the site. That is the 200-foot riverfront area. So the only portions of this project that are within that 200-foot riverfront area are a small percentage of this screen porch here, as well as the rebuilt patio space under my cursor here. The sunroom and the rebuilt entry porch and stairs are outside of that 200 riverfront area. At the request of the commission, we've also included in the plan a delineation of the siltation barriers, which is this dashed line under my cursor, as well as some proposed stockpiling areas for the construction. And with that, I'd love to open it up to questions.
So let's see. You're rebuilding the patio, so it's already a stone surface of some sort right there, right?
That's correct.
And let's see. And the only place where you're where you're building out is over on the proposed screen porch, correct? And what's underneath the screen porch now?
So there's a deck, you can see in the gray
Oh, I see.
line
Yeah,
here, there's
I
an
see the deck.
existing,
Okay.
yeah, and this is all
Okay.
stone and brick patio beyond an
Okay.
existing gazebo that's being demolished.
Okay,
Mhm.
pretty simple.
So
Yeah.
no new impervious or anything?
No,
Okay. Okay,
No,
no questions from me.
yeah, not for me either.
no, I thought this looks
Yeah.
very straightforward.
Okay.
Are there any,
talk to them about the erosion controls?
Yeah,
Yes.
you just want to.
Please show them.
yeah, you just show it that they are. I'll open up for public comment though, if there are any public comments on this proposal. Nope. Okay. We have,
You have any?
I don't have a copy of the closed. We have a,
He's gonna issue an RDA
Oh.
number, it's number 2.
okay. So
Yeah.
I move that we close this hearing for, RDA number 2515 and issue a negative determination of applicability, number 2.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Jim, and the vote, Jim?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thought was
Great.
sweet. Thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you very much.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your time.
Okay, next we have, a minor modification for 61 Lindsay Pond Road, DP file 1371678.
Well, good evening, Richard Harrington.
Richard.
Harrington Associates in person. Representing the applicant. Approximately a month ago, the new homeowners purchased the property and we've updated the as-built plan, which is going to remain active for 2 years for the monitoring of all the plantings for the partial certificate of compliance that was issued.
Mhm.
And so we have prepared a letter introducing the current homeowner for one of the conditions of your order. And the other one is to request to add a fence that the property owner would like to install for their dog. And this property, Lindsay Pond Road, it's a large property. A portion of it was already subdivided prior to purchasing this, and given to the Conservation Land Trust. So we have, from the right side, we have the driveway coming down is about 300 feet from the frontage on the right-hand side of the plan. And we have a conservation seed mixture and plantings there until you arrive at the garage. So the garage is in the buffer zone today, so we're proposing to start at the corner of the garage. And the red line is a curved aluminum open picket fence. That'll go down to the 25, the edge of disturbance of the lawn, and then follow along the 25-foot. Then there's a stone wall there till it arrives back at the 100-foot buffer zone. And then we're outside your jurisdiction for the blue portion of the fence, and then we have that protected area that we have a no mow pheno markers, and then there's just a small segment of a second fence as you wrap around back into the corner of the house at that location there. So it's an open picket fence, so wildlife can move through it. And then, so we have 300 feet of open area where wildlife can go back and forth. In the front of the house, there's another 100 feet of woods that are protected with conservation mowing in the back. So we're just looking to have a safe enclosure behind the house.
How tall is the fence?
It's probably 5 foot.
Pretty
I
tall.
think it was 6 in the.
So it's, so
application.
we show 6 feet and they'll probably, it might be, it'll be 5 or 6 feet tall.
Mhm. And you have, we require 6 inches open at the bottom? Is that part of it as well?
So we looked at the policy, so,
Yeah.
with the picture that we showed you, it is open on the bottom, so when. In my experiences, when we've had solid privacy fences, the stockade type, we've elevated them 6 feet, 6 inches above so that the wildlife can pass through.
Mhm.
This one is gonna be open all along the whole entire perimeter, so
Okay.
wildlife can go through there.
Mm.
And then the small area that is in the 25 to 50 foot, there's a stone wall there today, and then there's a topography drop towards the wetlands, so the likelihood of wildlife coming up a 5 foot slope, getting over a stone wall, and then it can easily go to the right of that segment of fence there and go along the front of the driveway and then over there.
The
Can I
picture you
just-
showed, does that go all the way to the ground, the estate?
Yes, it does, so that, yes.
I think the intent of the 6 foot clearance is to have it clear.
Correct.
6 inch clearance. is
So
to have
this
it
is,
clear.
this allows the spacing for wildlife to go through if they, into that.
What's the spacing between the stakes?
So probably about 4 inch spacing.
That's-
No,
6 inch clearance.
woodchucks aren't gonna make it.
So
Yeah,
what we're looking at is
second
we have over 500 linear feet of yard space left to right. And this one section is only 100 feet within, 100 linear feet within that 25 to 50.
I'm sorry, sir, could you indicate where this is?
Sure, so, back at the,
What, I'm sorry, what are you
So-
trying to show?
so if you go start the garage again, so.
But it's still down near the resource area, right?
Right, so if
I
you're,
think he's saying that he's just got a lot of fence that's not in the resource area.
so it's kind of,
And it's already there.
it kind of
No.
backtracks
No, it's
itself.
not.
Oh.
That's the point.
So I think,
I think
The wet flag 14, so
Mhm.
just on the bottom of the page there. So the area in the buffer zone of the fence is the red line, and
mhm,
so
so
the,
basically from
there's only a
here,
small section, so that,
I think, Rich, the concern is going to be that, you know, this portion of fence that is in the 50-foot no build zone.
right,
The policy specifically states that the setback policy doesn't apply to a fence, provided that there is a 6-inch clearance. But that is you know, from grade to the bottom of fence. So if, you know, having a 4-inch gap in the spacings of that is not gonna meet the policy.
so that 100 foot will have the 6-inch reveal on the bottom.
So the entire, in the 100-foot buffer
So
zone,
put that on, not behind, so it's broken down into 3 sections of fence, that first segment. From the garage to the 50-foot line is about 50 feet of fence just past the generator. There's 100 foot of fence within the 50 to 25,
Mhm.
and then there's an additional 52 feet along the stone wall at the 50 to 100.
So what is our policy?
So the policy says that the 50-foot no build zone
50 foot,
setback
the
does
50.
not apply
Right.
for fences that are raised 6 inches
So what
above
I think
ground.
I'm hearing him say is that they're willing to say that for the area that's in the 50-foot, they'll give a 6-inch clearance.
Mhm.
But the rest of the fence, you'll
It'll be flush with the ground.
be
yes.
flush with the
Let
ground.
me ask you a question. Why would you do that? Why would you have consistency all the way around the property for the look even? I mean, why not make it so you have a 6-inch clearance all the way around with the same kind of fence instead of having one
Or having
section.
wildlife come in the bottom where they can get in
Or
and
it's
stay
just
trapped.
makes more sense,
Well,
doesn't it? You might wanna rethink that portion.
well, where you have the policy. The
I know
policy
where we're
applies to the 25 to 50, which is 100 feet.
He's not talking about what he's gonna require, he's talking about
No, so
what makes sense.
What makes sense?
we would, to comply with your policy, if, with the interpretation that a spaced aluminum fence doesn't allow passage of wildlife. We would have that 100 linear feet elevated 6 inches above to meet your policy.
I know you're gonna do that. I'm just suggesting that you consider talking to your owners about having the whole fence done that way.
So
It
let's
harms
consider-
nothing.
Well, you don't have a policy, so.
No,
it's-
we're talking about
being
I'm
raised.
asking you to look at it, because it makes sense.
We would, the remainder of the fence outside the 50 it would touch the ground.
Why, let
And
me ask you a question. Why is that so?
because that's how,
Discuss that.
because that's how everyone in the world installs this fence type.
They're not
Everyone
being
around-
very helpful, are you?
I'm trying to be,
By the law.
Well, you know, we're telling you. We know it
Yeah,
has to be
You
done.
understand?
You wanna do that? Go ahead.
You want to trap wildlife? Go ahead. That's what you're gonna do.
well, which we're, it's an enclosure
I
for,
would like you to bring this to the attention of the owner.
we can do that.
Please do.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
You can come back on the 29th. Would like to continue until then?
I think he's okay.
No, I think we
he's
can,
okay as
we-
long as
we-
as long as you make the requirement.
So
that
we
you suggest.
applied and we recognize on the note that section of the 100
Yes.
feet would be 6 inches above. And what we did was we submitted a picture saying that our experiences was that, does this meet your intentions of that policy? That
And that-
allows wildlife to go.
That doesn't.
So you're answering it doesn't, so then we'll keep it at the 6-inch reveal like we talked about.
Okay,
That
thank you.
we're asking.
So is it,
So you'll-
so do we need to do anything here?
Yes, you need to make a
still-
motion, and I
to-
think you
to-
just want to capture that in the motion that
approve
the
the fence.
section in the 50 is raised 6 inches above.
Yeah.
With the recommendation that there's a conversation with the homeowner about being consistent and raising the entire thing outside.
Yeah,
So,
go for it, Jim.
yeah, so I move that we permit a modification to the project located at 61 Lindsay Pond Road, NOI file number 131-1678, to allow for the addition of a fence, noting that in all areas that are within the 50-foot zone, that the fence will be comply with the policy to be raised 6 inches off the ground.
I second that.
And the vote, Jim.
Aye.
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 And I'm an aye as well. Thank you,
Thank you
Richard.
so much.
Okay, we have,
Jump to the charge, just because there's so many people here.
so
Do you want to jump?
Oh, yeah, we can jump to the charge. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're gonna, we'll come back to the COCs after we've discussed the Warner's Pond Management Committee charge. Okay, so I just wanted to start with a few comments. So we, after the last discussion, posted some slight updates to the charge, trying to take into account the discussion, where I thought we landed with the discussion. We have had some written comments from both Paul and Mark from the select board, and also I had a discussion with Mark today. And I just want to say that, you know, please, the intent here is to create a committee, a subcommittee of the NRC, who is intent on doing everything we can to improve the conditions of the pond. And we've discussed how there are various measurements that we can done to see how the pond is doing health-wise. And one of the changes I would like added to the current draft is that I'd like us to make sure that we build on existing data. We're not just starting from scratch. We're actually making sure that we're taking into account work that's done before. So we have a longer period of time to see how the pond's doing. I just want to make that very clear. That is the intent of this task force, or not task force, subcommittee. We've had a lot of discussions about how long the committee should be for. I know originally the recommendation was 8 years. I know I came in strong saying I want it to be flexible so that the committee can react to
It was 5 years,
5.
not 8.
8 came in somewhere, 5 to 8. Okay, 5. Okay.
5. It was really 5. It was older
Yeah,
than 5.
okay. So I pushed back because I wanted the committee to be able to be flexible depending on whatever was going on outside of it, around it, climate change, etc. And the way that I now see, looking at it again, the way the charge was written, I know there's a lot of concerns that we only wanted it to last a year. That certainly wasn't the case. We put in 3 years, but in thinking about it more and talking to people, I definitely agree. We can put in the expectation would be 5 years. That makes sense to me. I'm trusting that the committee will be making data-driven recommendations and decisions. And obviously, if there's anything to react to before 5 years, I'm sure we'll have those discussions based on the data. But I do understand that by the time the committee's got going, started to get the consultant on board, if that's what they choose to do, start making measurements, you need a few seasons in order to see a difference. So I'd like to propose that we write in the charge that the expectation is it will be for at least 5 years. Now, again, I just want to say the intent was not that it would necessarily stop at 3 years. It would depend on what was going on the committee, but very happy to add in that 5 years piece. I'm gonna, for the record, I think some of you have seen some of the NRC have seen these comments from Paul Baum, who couldn't be here tonight. He made some comments about making sure we had broad and technically relevant representation. I thought we had made that clear in the charge, that we were looking for people. We've actually said we're looking for people with experience, knowledge, and or professional training in pond management, ecological restoration, biodiversity, recreation, civil engineering, climate resiliency, and history. Would the NRC agree that that is clear, or do we need to make some more comments about the at-large representatives in the charge?
Well, still, let me just add that he also is looking for 7 people as opposed to 5.
Oh, yes, that's another point. The reason
I think it's sort of I mean, you get more, theoretically, you'd be more have
I have a
broader
proposal.
representation with more people, that's.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I was a little concerned about having a subcommittee that was larger than the actual NRC. That was why I was
Why would that
pushing back.
matter?
Well, it just
Doesn't
seemed,
matter at all. You
it
had
just
11 or
seemed
12 people on the task force.
what about a compromise of having two, what do we call them? Associates, thank
Well,
you.
But why? I mean, why are you holding on to something which without a good reason? That's the part I don't see.
So none of you feel that it's weird having a subcommittee with more? Okay,
You have 5 people on the select board, and that doesn't stop us from having larger committees.
that's very, well, it's true.
The number.
Okay, I'm just
I
explaining
think,
where my
you know,
head
my
was.
only concern about the number is it's hard finding people qualified. people for committees.
That's true.
that's the
Well,
part
maybe
that's
we can say
probably-
5 to 7. And then
Well, I think it's
depending on
gotta be
who
one or the
applies.
other,
I think it's
Okay.
7. I think you should say 7.
So
I
would
mean,
you,
if you say 7 and we have trouble recruiting enough competent, people
can
with
change our
the right,
Yeah.
right knowledge,
okay,
the committee can start functioning with 5 or something, right? But it's gonna get awkward if it's an even number.
Let's just say 7 and then see where we go from there. If we can't get
Yeah.
7, then we'll come back and we'll talk.
Okay, let's think about this. Are you gonna continue this after tonight, this discussion?
well, I think we might
We
have
have
to,
to,
because
because
we're
we
gonna
have to
make some
inter-
significant changes, yeah,
Make changes.
Yeah.
okay.
okay. I just wanted to explain why I was sticking with 5, but clearly that was a crazy, overthought
You're wildly
idea.
crazy, go on.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're looking for a lot of expertise here, so I do see that it makes sense to have
So
more.
I thought, I have to go back and reread it, but I thought Paul Bohm was being a little bit more specific about, the areas of expertise being a requirement that like, not just people who know something about, but people who really know something about.
Yeah, he did
These
add in a few more, so we could beef that up a bit, if.
And I mean, if
you
we can
feel
really
that's
find
appropriate.
people with those qualifications, then I think it's a real asset to have 7.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's a real asset to have 7. I'm a little concerned about having so specific qualifications in here that if we somehow don't end up with a committee that has, I mean, once we have the charge and then we just don't find anybody
Well,
who
then,
meets
there's
one
a
of those
question about the
particular.
effectiveness of the committee if we can't.
No, that's not true.
No,
No.
I'm just saying that if you are too specific about the numbers, you could
Yeah.
end up being too specific and have like 9 different things here for the 7 people to fill, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
I
but
feel like
as
that's-
long as we don't,
So
we
I'm
can
just
just
saying-
say, for example, these are the
Yeah,
types of
yeah,
expertise like
that's
we've
right,
done.
exactly.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying is I think that I agree with Sarah that have tried.
Collectively,
hard.
we would like these areas of expertise
Yes,
represented.
Absolutely.
yeah,
What we
okay,
could say, and what we almost said, what we almost said
Collectively.
last time, Nick, was this, something like, you could say something like this. When staffing the committee, it will be Concord residents committed to the restoration of the pond. Preference will be given to people who have served on the task force, I think, that's my opinion, with knowledge and or professional training in pond management, which we need, ecological restoration, biodiversity, recreation, civil engineering, climate resiliency, and frankly, in community involvement. Because there's all these other elements that are gonna be involved, everything from the prison, et cetera. You want someone who understands, the
Mhm.
context. So, and then I think the NRC should evaluate the work of the committee on an annual basis to determine the effectiveness and the ongoing need to continue the committee,
yes,
something like that.
okay,
Yeah, I just want to make sure, honestly, I really do want to make sure that we don't end up catching ourselves by saying that you have to have
Right,
somebody of a certain trait, particularly if the number of traits that you list are larger than the number of members of the committee, which means that everyone, you got
Right, correct,
somebody who
correct.
meets.
That's correct.
He meets two of those,
Well, if-
or whatever, so
if we say
just,
for-
I don't disagree with your point,
No,
I'm
I
just
agree.
saying, we just wanna be careful.
We want to have a broader.
We don't wanna get ourselves stuck.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
in a
I think
situation.
you've covered yourself by saying a preference given,
Preference,
Yeah.
that's
so
fine.
that it's,
yeah, that's
you
right.
know, you're not bound.
Yeah, I'm more
by
saying, I
it.
wanna look at the words when we find.
Yeah.
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 Okay, okay. And then Paul also made some comments about how the members do need to be committed to the goals of the task force recommendations, and we've discussed that. We had a lot of comments on that before, and I just want to emphasize, yes, I certainly agree.
So we have to make that as explicit as we can when we're in the rewrite.
I think you have to make it as explicit as you can in the charge to the committee.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Right, but we do have in
the
here
charge
what the
itself,
goals,
Not in the oath of allegiance.
No,
No,
the
but
charge
the-
itself, yeah.
yeah, okay. And then, Mark.
I think we did say that.
Mhm. Mark had some comments about the timing and, you know, I think we've agreed 5 years, so he would be happy with that. And then also, we had some discussion about, and I wanted to look at the language again and see how people felt. So he was concerned that, that as he was reading the charge, or people who have commented to him are reading the charge, it's too much under NRC, what's the word, control maybe. In that we have to, you know, we want to approve the plan and such like. I mean, my comment to him was, well, there's a lot of regulations we have to follow as an NRC as far as what you can do in the wetlands and such like. So we would want to, you know, see what's in the plan, but
Here's
Yeah.
the point, here's the point. The main purpose, it seems to me, is for this management committee is to oversee the preparation and implementation of an adaptive management
Mhm.
plan.
Mhm.
That's really what they're asked to do.
Yeah.
And I think that ought to be said right up front in the purpose, which we don't quite say. We say its
It can
task
be
is to
clearer.
oversee the preparation, but among other duties. I think we should say that we don't actually say that in the original draft.
I agree that we can be clearer. So thanks for sending your previous
Yeah, and
language.
and
We
then
can
I
look at
think
that.
we ought to, then I think the next step is to actually speak very clearly about what we think as our essential parts of an adaptive management plan. Before you get into the who's on it, et cetera, et cetera. What do we see? And we said it before in other places, but to gather it all together, and you know, I've sent this to you just today.
Mhm.
Clear and specific goals and metrics about that we all accept, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on about all of them, but I won't do it right now.
Well, we have had it in here that it must include metrics to measure the success of efforts to be implemented. I think maybe the concern before was we need this committee to lay out what's in the adaptive management plan. So the goal of the charge was just to make it clear that you needed metrics so that you can actually measure success,
Of course.
which I believe we have in here.
Without us trying to second guess what they should do.
Oh, exactly, because
But it sounds like what you're asking for, though, is to give them a lot more detail. You need to do these things.
Mm.
As opposed to, well, okay, this is what we expect of you.
that's fine.
This is, you know, what the outcome should be. And now you go off and tell us
Good
how to
point,
do
Nick.
it.
And in
Okay?
fact, Nick, the reason why that was in our original, the task force's position was to make sure we were being true to those people who wanted the dam removed, and we weren't trying to obfuscate, is that the word? The potential issues around water quality, et cetera. So that's why we listed it. But you're right, ultimately, you want them to come back with that, yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Okay,
Okay.
the other thing, yeah, so I said I wanted to add something about building on existing data. That could be a simple word change somewhere in here. Was there anything else that any of you, on looking at this again, felt needed more discussion or changing?
So some things that we talked about when we asked for this to be done was we expected that this committee would, as you suggest, make an annual report, and you
Mhm.
have that. But also they would communicate with other town departments, not only the NRC, but the Recreation Commission and others, the Oars, the Friends, et cetera, and keep that communication going.
Isn't that in here?
Yeah, so
That's in here.
typically committees, and I think.
It says involve stakeholders.
Yeah.
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 So I'm saying communicate rather than, we aren't sure what the extent of the involvement, that's okay. I think they're gonna look for, we talked about having yearly meetings with stakeholders. We talked about having a public meeting, with the community of people, whether it's Oars and
You're
others.
not asking for that to be in the charge, are you? I mean,
Yeah. We did that when we put out the task force charge. We told them we wanted them to have at least 2 public meetings a year.
It feels
Why-
like we're
why would you not?
micromanaging.
Yeah, I would like the committee to decide the appropriate time. I mean, that, we don't know yet
Sounds like.
when they're gonna have data.
Well, the truth is, I put a lot of time on it, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
probably do, yeah.
Yeah, I-
Not run it, but at least I understand, you're right. Okay, I'll forward as you have already, I'll forward my suggestions to you again, which I think concretely need to be in there.
I mean,
That's all right.
I think that, well, I'll make 2 comments. The first is, I think you can bridge a lot of that by simply saying in the charge that you want this committee to take a thoughtful approach or somehow
Mhm.
very much take into account the recommendations of the task force that
Mhm.
came up, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, That's good.
In
That's
other
good.
words,
Mhm.
that we ask them to take a look at that,
that's the way of doing
to
it.
be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And the second is,
Yeah.
my usual comment on this, we have to. We do have to make sure we don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good here, so. I think these are all good changes, undoubtedly, when we get comments, maybe that'll have some more good changes, but. I just hope that we can figure out a way to get there.
Yes, I know. I was really hoping we'd finish it today.
Because it's gonna take a long time to recruit these people, or it's gonna take some time to recruit and do it, and we want them to have a report to us by December 26th, so.
Yeah, I agree. A
think-
charge that's workable is what we need.
I
Yeah.
think we're close. I
I
mean,
think we are.
are we close enough? I really, as I'm kind of jotting comments on the draft we have, I wonder if we could almost do it here. No?
No.
Okay.
You need to-
Want to get home tonight?
Well,
Okay.
no, and honestly, you've got stuff from Bill, I don't know, you circulated to the rest of the people.
No, I just gave it to Seth.
Right, that's what I understood. We just saw stuff from Paul and whatever
Yeah.
today. I quite frankly had virtually no chance to read any of it
Okay.
because I was in meetings and whatever all day, so I didn't, so I for one feel like I need
Yes,
time, but I can
absolutely.
really
Yes.
deal with it.
okay.
So, can I just ask a question about,
Yes.
so I had made some changes based on the discussion from the last meeting, and
Yes.
if those changes are acceptable, I can accept those track changes and then make further changes in,
I hold off on that until we have a chance.
okay,
to-
so do everything
Yeah.
in track
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, I would,
Don't do anything.
Sarah's gonna do the next draft,
Do the next
Okay,
draft,
great.
yeah,
based on whatever you have.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
But,
since
yeah.
I'm going away this weekend until the next meeting, I will do it tomorrow. So, and then I can send it to you
Send it
to share and, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll take it from there, but I,
Share it with the committee and post.
I feel again, as far as when I've been the chair of the task force, one of the chairs, I feel compelled to at least try, I would feel, I haven't done my work if I don't at least send my recommendations to the rest of the committee members, okay?
Yeah.
So Jim, I'll send you mine and Nick,
yeah,
see what, I already sent it to
but
Sarah.
would you like to see what I put together
Oh, yeah, I would.
tonight?
Like,
And then you
it's a-
can see if
I'd like to
everything's
send this out
missing.
anyway. so
Yeah, of
you
course.
see where I was,
Mhm.
okay, good.
Okay, because what you sent me, I think was the version you sent right at the beginning.
Close,
Right.
I changed a number of.
Because
things.
because we can't, a lot of work went into making sure that this format was very consistent with other committees and such like, so
That's
it's not
what I- same
it's
thing.
not a straightforward switch. So, but we can do I will do a cross-check tomorrow to see what's missing that I think, we need to put in.
Okay,
Okay. Any other comments from the commission before we open to public comment?
No.
No. Okay, public comment. Christine.
Yes, so I have a statement that I want to read. Christine Gennaro, 189 Commonwealth Avenue. Some of this has already been said, but I just want to reiterate my comments here. The Water Fund Task Force met for over a year and a half. The final proposal that was presented to the NRC and the NRD was based on some of the following. Consultation from several groups, either to the entire task force or to the individual work groups. Discussion of several prior documents, reports regarding Warner's Pond. Input from 2 community meetings. In-depth discussion of 3 proposals, dam removal, dredging, and the adaptive pond management. And decided on adaptive pond management, which became the Warner's Pond Management Committee proposal. The vote on the written proposal was 7-2. And because 2 people were missing, one became a member of the select board, one was traveling on business and didn't have access to Zoom. But we had a verbal vote during the second to last meeting, which was May 22nd. The vote was 8 to endorse, 1 can live with, 2 to abstain. So really, both of these votes were overwhelmingly in favor of the adaptive pond management proposal. I think that these points clearly detail that the task force was committed to making a well thought out proposal on how to proceed with Warner's Pond. And the final report was 36 pages, so we had quite a bit of detail, as I'm sure you all know. And just some additional comments. This has been discussed, but I want to reiterate that the committee clearly needs to include members that are committed to cleaning up and restoring the pond. And I will compare this to Haywood Meadow Committee because it is under NRC, is that every member on that committee is committed to the improvement of Haywood Meadow. The Warner's Pond Management Committee needs that same commitment from its members. I would have to believe that the NRC would want a current member of the NRC on this committee who was a co-chair of the task force, helped to write the proposal, has done extensive research into how other towns are managing their ponds. There was a discussion regarding the application process at the last meeting. All committees in town use the volunteer green card only. This committee should require the same and no more. And the task force agreed on a 5-year plan from the start of the committee. After much discussion and research, since it takes time to implement processes, see the results, and make adaptations. So those are the points that I wanted to make. Thank you for listening to my comments and concerns, and I look forward to getting this committee going as soon as possible.
Thank you, Christine. I'd just like to respond to one piece about the green cards.
Yes.
That is for, the green card process is for new committees. This is a subcommittee of the NRC, so it can follow a different process, and the thought was to avoid all the staff in town manager, et cetera, so busy. The question was, do they really need to have to manage a lot of green cards, where with the subcommittee, usually you just have a letter of intention. A letter of application, my understanding is. So that's why we were recommending that approach. Unless I'm missing anything here.
No, so that's right. So
Yeah.
the green cards are for select board committees and town manager appointed
Yeah.
committees, and the NRC subcommittees have,
Yeah.
so Haywood Meadow Stewardship Committee, actually, that's a select board. So that goes through a green card process. The Trails Committee and Haywood Meadow Stewardship Committee are through a letter of intention that comes to the
Yeah.
NRC.
And there was an exception made for the task force, my understanding was, just because it was such a big town discussion.
Right,
We wrote a letter of intent.
Oh, okay.
but
A
you
letter of
submitted
interest.
green cards as well,
Well,
right,
we did both.
right, that's
Yeah.
right,
We had an interview.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it was quite a
So,
process.
but are there concerns about the letter of interest approach rather than green card though? I mean, to me, that doesn't make a lot of difference apart from the fact we're saving town staff a lot of time.
That was just my understanding that all processes just go through the
Oh, okay.
the same
No.
procedure.
No,
So why would this be treated any differently?
Okay.
That was my feeling and belief on that.
okay, so that's why, yeah. Okay, Anna?
I thought the difference, maybe this is wrong, is that letter of intents were, the letter, yeah. the
Letter of interest,
Letter of interest.
yeah.
That's not a public record, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is,
Mhm.
okay, so they're the same, in that respect, green card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
and the letter of interest, would that come to me and the NRC or to the NRD? How does it, who does it
So it
go
would
to?
go to nr@concordma.gov
Okay, Yeah.
and then distributed to the NRC.
yeah. And then we'd have an interview process, just like was done for the task force. Yeah,
So will that note, will there be a notice to explain how that?
yeah, there'll be a letter to the bridge, which if we had finalized this tonight, we would have, written straight away and got in next week's, but, would it be next week's? Next week's? But I guess we'd be delayed another month now, unfortunately, but as soon as we have it finalized, then that request for letters of interest will go out, yeah. Yes,
Okay, Natalie, 54 Wadsworth Road. Just to clarify, so the clock starts after the adaptive management committee is in place and after this charge has been adapted, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, great, thanks, thank you.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the charge will be approved. And then we'll put out asking people with interest to send in letters, then we'll do the interview process. And then if you're asking about the 5 years, that will be when the committee starts.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And so. Was it, 131 Ministerial Drive? So when is the charge gonna be approved?
Hopefully at the next NRC meeting on October 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, I sincerely hope we can do that. Yeah. Do we have questions do we have comments online? Is anyone want to?
We have one hand raised. Miguel?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yes,
yeah.
we can.
Okay, I actually have a question that's not related to Warner's Pond, so if everyone's finished with Warner's Pond, I think I would ask it,
No,
so.
I don't think we are.
Oh, yeah.
There was time for that. at the
Okay, we'll
beginning
move
of the
on.
meeting.
Okay, so anyways, Miguel Echevarri, homeowner at 255 Commonwealth Ave. And my comment, or actually I have a question with regard to those piles at the Rotary. The one that has the
Oh,
DEP.
no.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Miguel, we're not taking general public comment now.
Oh, is that, okay, so that was what I was asking. So is that done then after the meeting's,
At
okay,
the very, I guess at the very, do we have public comment at the, no, it's just at the beginning of the
Beginning
meeting.
of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we can address the
You can let them ask the question at the end of the meeting, but not now.
Yeah.
'cause we-
So we'll finish the Warner's Pond discussion though, because there's a lot of people in the room, on that.
understood, yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'll raise my hand again, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Alice Naily has her hand raised.
Alison, please go ahead.
Hi, can you turn, wait, 1 second.
We feel your pain, that happens.
Sorry about that. You made a lot of comments about, sorry, wait a sec. Can you turn that down? I'm getting an echo back here. I just wanted to clarify whether you committed to making a lot of changes in the charge, but I couldn't tell whether you committed to putting language in the charge that required all committee members to be committed to the success of adaptive pond management and not taking the position of being pro dam removal.
Would we put that, I mean, that is certainly the intent, but would we normally put that in the?
We will check. That's something we talked
It's part
about.
of the
And if
interview,
it's not
yeah.
in there, I think that will definitely be in there at some level. It may very well be in there now. I don't remember.
Do you want to write the oath of allegiance?
Not individuals, but I think it's a clear thing. I mean, you didn't sit through these meetings when it was so contentious during the task force.
But that, I would just say, Alison, that is certainly the intent. We'll work out a way of hopefully making that
Well,
clear.
so when you say we'll work out a way of hopefully making that doesn't sound like a commitment to having that be in the charge.
I think that was a comment that we would try to put in the charge, and anytime you write anything, you hope it's clear.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Because,
Okay.
because history shows that it often isn't.
Mhm.
And you can review it at the next meeting, to see if we're clear.
I'll give you as example one, the United States Constitution.
And we can say also when we invite for letters of interest, maybe this is a better place. We can, ask for
Yeah.
people who are
Yeah.
committed to
Oh,
the,
yeah, no, I think.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will do our best to be clear on
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
I believe you. I think in both places it would be helpful though, given some of the history with all of this. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, understood.
we understand. We understand that comment.
Linda has a comment.
Yes, thank you. I'm Linda Escobedo, Wedgewood Common. I'm also wondering if it isn't possible to solicit additional members using the news and notices section of the town, because a lot of people go there.
Mhm.
Good idea. Yep,
Thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
will be done.
Okay. Any other comments in the room? No. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for bearing with us, and I sincerely hope that at the next meeting we can finalize this charge and get going.
I do, I agree, and I would just say that I would hope that we can, I know you're gonna be doing it right away because you're leaving.
Yep.
So that's great, and I'd like to get it circulated, and I'd certainly like to encourage anybody who's gonna make comment, including the select board and other things. that-
Not on the last afternoon
That, well,
before the
it's just-
meeting.
it's impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
you just can't guarantee that somebody is gonna get something at 10 o'clock in the morning and have. and
Yeah.
Have the rest of the day to
Yeah.
fit it in.
But
It's
if we as a committee agree on it,
Quite clearly.
My point clearly is that if you're gonna make comments on this, and particularly if you're a member of the select board and you're gonna make comments on it, I would hope that you get them in a couple of days in
Yeah.
advance so that we have a chance.
but
Well,
to be
in
fair,
that-
we
right,
didn't,
and there-
we didn't
fairness
post
to them.
it.
It was only issued on.
Monday.
And that is
I get it.
because of
I get it.
vacations.
I get it. So I hope we have it out. Everyone
We will
has
post
Monday.
it well in advance. Yeah.
Let's be clear, open meeting law, right? So we're all gonna get it. Any comments we have, we send to
Mhm.
Delia? Because Sarah will be away,
Um,
just as a repository.
yeah, that's fine. You can send it to both Sarah and I, so she
Okay.
has it,
Okay.
as
Yeah.
well when she
But no-
comes back, but
No copy.
no discussion until
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next
no.
No
meeting.
discussion,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, I
Wait a
mean,
minute, no discussion, but here's the question. This open meeting law, though, it does allow us to send it to other members without
No,
discussion?
no.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
No.
It
So,
does.
yes, less than a
does.
quorum. So you could send a copy, you could say, hey, Nick, what do you think about this?
Right.
No, no,
That's-
I can't answer that question.
You
if ask
can,
that.
less than a quorum does
Yeah,
not
If the
violate.
two of you can talk.
Yeah.
But it's just, but the simple.
It's highly advisable not to do that.
Yeah,
It's,
well,
I'm.
so so let me restate this. Anything that we can do to have a draft in front of, available for all of us and the public, whatever, in advance, so that people can get comments in advance would be really, really, really helpful.
Yes.
It's just to the idea of getting this thing done on October 29th.
Agreed.
If we have a extensive comments, it's very difficult. to
But-
do it.
Okay, that's good enough.
Doing
That's good.
anything other than sending comments back to one place is dangerous.
yeah,
Good.
Christine had a
One
comment.
last question though, and I think, Jim, you might have just said it. So does that mean that the public will have an opportunity to see this prior?
That is our
to
goal,
the-
Christine,
to the
yes.
Being posted?
Yes,
Mhm.
Where will it be
Yes.
posted?
So it was also complicated. I was out of the office for the past 2 weeks.
when I was out for
So-
2 weeks and then we overlapped, and that's kind of why it happened that way,
It was
yeah.
last minute because
Yeah.
that was.
We're
when-
not gonna cast any aspersions. We're just trying to get it done for everyone.
Right,
Will this be?
we'll get
posted-
it sooner.
Will this be posted in the next meeting documents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So it'll be posted in the next meeting documents.
well in advance of the meeting.
Which are in advance.
Thank you.
I will communicate from Vietnam, I guess. Sounds like. Okay, we have some more business, so I'm gonna close this part of the agenda. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming,
Thank you.
and we'll see you in a few weeks.
We don't usually have
end of the
people
meeting,
coming
I guess?
for certificates.
Why don't we do the other parts first and then do Miguel, or do Miguel first?
What
whatever.
we generally don't have people attending for certificates of compliance, but we do have the representatives from the certificate of compliance for 137-1419. So I think we should go through those
Okay,
before we move further.
I'm a bit confused.
Sorry, Hope and Craig, I see that you've been waiting there patiently and I apologize we didn't get to you sooner.
So, which one are we going to, sorry?
We can start with Beckman.
Beckman.
For the Cooper Road, that is a certificate of compliance, a full COC.
This is the one we have the people in.
We do,
Okay.
they just want, they're here just because I think they want to be sure it goes through.
Yep.
So this was for the, 4-lot subdivision at, what was Cuca Road, which is now McCallar Lane, and, there was, so that was appealed by some abutters, so it went through a superseding order of conditions with DEP. DEP did issue a full certificate of compliance. NRC, under the bylaw, only issued a partial because we were waiting for some additional, I think it was mitigation,
Okay.
review of
Yeah.
plantings. Conservation restriction has been completed. They've done their years of monitoring that was required. And this is ready for issuance for a full certificate of compliance under the wetlands
This
bylaw.
is Beckman we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
So why don't we just move,
Move
make the
Beckman.
motion?
Yep, go for it.
All right, I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for Beckman 2A, 2B, 3B, 4A, 5A, 6A, and 80B, Cooker Road, DEP file number 137-1419.
Second.
Thank you, and the vote, Jim?
I,
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Good.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you. And then 300 Ministerial Drive was completed. It was an addition and some additional work that was done there. They did have some flood storage, floodplain fill and flood storage that has been completed and is ready for a full COC issuance.
Okay, ready for, I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for 300 Ministerial Drive, DEP file number 137-1628.
And the vote, Jim?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. And
Yeah.
lastly,
Ray Chowdhury, 61 Channing Road, 2 trees to be removed.
oh, we don't have,
Border Road.
there's another,
Sorry, that is not, that should have come off. That's not ready to go.
Okay.
Sorry.
okay.
Ray Chowdhury, so we're on to administrative approvals.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is for 2 trees to be removed. And Will has looked at those and recommends that those
Okay, good.
go forward. And then, Neshoba Brook, Bakery Gates, 152 Commonwealth Ave. It's actually just limbing,
Oh.
of 3 trees. It's fairly significant of, 2 oaks that are, hanging over the walkway behind Neshoba Brook. Yeah, so there are, basically, I would say half of each of those trees that have overhanging limbs, they have concerns about them coming down along the walkway and, some the picnic areas.
Trees be balanced, okay, when they,
I mean,
they'll fall the right way. anyway.
I mean, I think they will.
Okay.
I think it will be a little ungainly at first. I think they will fill in over time. And then there's a 3rd tree that is sort of tangled up with some electrical wires. It's overhanging some picnic benches that's closer to the Winthrop Street parking lot.
That's dangerous.
That we also thought could benefit from some limbing.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. And
We don't need to.
127 Elsinore Street, or did you not get to that?
that one should come off as well because that we approved it.
You're looking.
It was approved at a prior,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry,
on
it's on the
the agenda.
thumbnail, but that's not on the agenda. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it
Okay.
has
not on the agenda.
already been approved.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So do we have Miguel?
Miguel.
Oh, yes, Miguel.
Miguel, you ready?
You had
Okay,
a
yeah, can you guys hear me?
question? Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Okay, I'll keep it short. It's the end of the night. Okay, Miguel Chavari, homeowner, 255 Commonwealth Ave. And earlier, in the meeting, it was mentioned about there was a DEP complaint with regards to those large piles at the Rotary. And so I have a simple question. Did the NRC approve a permit for those piles? And if not, why not? Because as you know, they're pretty significant. So my question is, did the NRC actually review it? And was there a permit? And if not, why not? Probably the latter you can't answer, but the first one I'm hoping you can.
Normally, the building department would catch something, but
No,
so
so,
this-
so
this
it
is
was,
all-
Well, she's gonna answer. Let's go ahead, Delia.
so this was something that came to my attention after an agreement had been established and after the piles were put in place. And it was not something that was affecting wetland resource areas. And we had measures put in place with the contractor to ensure that wetland resource areas were not affected, and it was temporary in nature. And so it was not something that I felt needed to be brought to the NRC for a permit.
So I did walk the property with a pretty detailed, buffer zone map. And most of those piles are within the 100-foot buffer zone. And then a lot of those piles are within the 50-foot buffer zone. And there are all the silk fences or whatever the erosion controls are all either degraded or non-existent. So I'm asking, should this have been going, regardless of whether it got started, should this have gone before the NRC? Delia?
Well, no,
I
I
think I
think
just
Delia
answered
just
that
answered that.
I think
Okay, so
not-
the answer was no? Okay.
Yeah, the answer is no, but I think that also that you may have missed that Delia mentioned earlier that she had recognized that some of the erosion controls were had degraded and they're going back to get them back in shape, and also to make sure that the contractor who says is going to be, or they are going to be done by the end of the year, complies with the requirements under the contract to restore the land.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. I adjourn this meeting at 9:15.
Oh, yes.
9:13, sorry.
Yeah.